been very, very busy writing from the top lately, and it's not just the games. It's the fact that we have prospect calls-ups. We have roster turnover with trades. So let's start with these prospects, because we all saw Jackson Holliday really trying to figure it out those first 10 games up here. He has figured it out since. He's hitting .357 since being recalled. But you still see some moments where you go, okay, this is a young kid. He is very much learning the game. Kobe Mayo, I think you can expect the same from him. Some plays, you go, oh, well, if he's been here, he makes that play. Where do you start taking the time to actually dig into analyzing them as a big league player?
Yeah, I mean, it's small sample size, especially with Mayo. A couple games, you just can't do it yet. I think where you started diving in with him is the fact that his debut, he had 3 full counts and walked twice. He doesn't have a hit yet, but I was so impressed. I was more impressed by that than if it had been like a first pitch double, because he was very calm. You think he would have been swinging from the heels in your first game. You're trying to impress, and he's taken borderline pitches with plate umpires who have that movable zone that's on wheels. I mean, you can't even predict what's a ball to strike anymore, and he's taking close pitches and drawing walks. I thought that was a good sign there. Way he was working the count. Those are very mature at bats, and with Holliday, you know, 2 for 34 is not who he was. 10 games. Also, things are much calmer for him now. Now, he handled the pressure really well, but, you know, his first time up, he couldn't take 2 steps without running into 5 reporters, a couple cameramen. He was swarmed everywhere. He looks more like a ball player now. He's showing up. There's a little bit of media. He's working really hard. He hit early today in the cage. He was out here taking ground balls. Every day he's doing that. And I think it's just, after a while, talent plays. Like, if you're this good, it's going to happen. And he just seems more comfortable. Brandon Hyde was talking about it. He's not as jumpy or jittery in the box. He's staying behind the ball. And he's basically saying he just feels like a ball player now. It's not like the #1 prospect and Matt Holliday's son who's here with all. He's just one of the guys here who's working hard and playing. And he is so talented. And he's still learning a different position, which is he was working on again today. But, you know, he just looks better with his at-bats. And, you know, the single up the middle against Class A, really impressive. He doubled off the left field wall before that. He's going left on left getting hits. This is the Jackson Holliday we expected to see.
And it's, I think, a very unique situation. And I wanted to get your perspective on this. But having 2 young prospects like Mayo and Holliday, who both happen to be on the infield, coming up in the middle of contention, but they have each other in a very different sense than when, yeah, you can learn. Gunnar Henderson has been a great teacher for them. They've been very open about that. But have you ever seen a pair like that in this kind of situation that's been able to at least ride the storm together?
Yeah, it's been a while, for sure. I mean, I'm going to go back to like Al Bummer and Rich Coggins in the outfield in '73. That's going back a ways. It's funny that Gunnar is now the mentor. What is he? You just turned 23. He's a
decrepit 23-year-old, yes. You know, or past it now.
And Ryan Mountcastle's 27. He's the old man. He said, you know, it's like, hey, drive Papa in here, guys. Like, he's the dad now of this group. But so it is unusual to have these 2 young guys together, but also it's unusual when you're a team fighting to get to a World Series. They don't want to just make the playoffs. They think they're going to make a deep run. Won 101 games last year, been in first place most of the year. And how much of this roster is different now?
A third.
I mean, it's a very interesting transition around the deadline where you're bringing up, not just changing the roster, but giving 2 kids their opportunity. But at some point you have to, and I know injuries dictated that quite a bit, obviously. But it's still a unique situation. Normally, you try and add a little bit to a team like this. You know, the one year they brought in Jim Tomei, who we just saw. He was here visiting. You know, and you trade a couple of minor leaguers. But it's not very often that you're bringing up your prospects and you're making the kind of deals they did when you're in this position when you've been in first place. So this is, guys are walking by. I don't know who they are still. Face recognition, I'm like, okay, tall, beard, maybe, and I'm not, you know, I'm still learning this clubhouse now.
Same. Completely agree with that. Now, Eflin takes the mound last night. Again, you just said it. We're still learning these guys. There's a ton of them to sort through. But your initial thoughts, knowing that this is kind of that postseason piece that you're looking at between he, Burns, and Grayson.
Yeah, it was a great trade. And it's not to say anything about the guys they gave up. They were 3 mid-level prospects for a guy that in some years would have been the #1 here. Now he's the 3 when you have Burns and you have Rodriguez. But he is as advertised. He's a guy, 2 quality starts since he's been here. He's going to keep you in games. He's going to get deep. He walked a batter last night, and that was like breaking news. I think I actually tweeted that he walked a guy, because I think he's had 9 starts where he hasn't walked anybody, and maybe 18 when it was 1 or fewer, and that led to a 2-run homer, which is why it really stood out. But a guy who's going to pitch to contact, and he's not going to just give up the free base, which obviously managers love a guy like that. So that was a really big pickup. And when you look playoff, short series, your starters, to have those top 3, that sets you up very well.
What the bullpen pieces, we're still waiting to see some of these guys. We've had very limited sights on Austin Slater, although he delivered in his start last night. Sir Anthony Dominguez, though, really looks like he could be that Cano bolster.
He could be. And I mean, there was the home run. That's fine. He's a power arm, back of the bullpen. And I know some people weren't that excited about it, but when the trades were made, because they're like, you're bringing back the Phillies bullpen back in from last year that didn't do so well. But this is a big arm, and he's got some closing experience. So they went ahead and, like, they go, he's available. Go ahead and get him. And he's a guy that could get you some big outs late. And they're still trying to make up for Danny Coulombe's absence. It doesn't matter left or right. This guy got everybody out. Yeah. So you still have that big void in the back in the bullpen. Kimbrel's had a couple stretches there where he's really struggled, and in between we're like, how is he snubbed for the All-Star game? So he provides a little bit of a safety net there as well. So that was just a big arm, and you know how much they believe in their pitching here, their instruction. They can get the most out of these guys.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, this is exciting, but I will let you go so you can start making name tags for the rest of them.
Thanks.
Just throw a solid bone here while we get to learn this new Orioles roster.